And then if a program that is watching this or listening to this, if they are currently screening people out because of substance use or exiting people because of something related to substance use or trauma response, like you were saying before, and they want to find a different way, right? They realize that what they're doing isn't the best and they want to find a different way. How can they get started?
Yeah, that's a really great question. It's understanding where your staff are, the capacity that they have. When we've done a lot of research with programs to figure out where are they at on a scale, what would going backwards look like, what would going forward look like? How do you evaluate where people are? And first and foremost is that, what I have learned is that organizations are made of people with their own stories and that have their own journeys. And so it's really creating that environment where your staff who are survivors, a lot of them, whether they're, whether they can be open about that or not, whether you've created an environment that allows them to be open about their experiences of violence, of mental health, of substance use, that all those things are present because there is no us and them. And there are a lot of us that are drawn to this work. And there are a lot of us that can't be open about that. I get a lot of private messages from people that tell me their experience, but don't feel like they can share that because of whatever reason. So it is really looking at the culture that we have created and understanding that our organizations are live, they are communities, and they only have as much power as the person with the least amount of power. And so there's that paradigm shift, right? And so a lot of our organizations are hierarchical, and understanding the ways that power imbalances affect people, especially survivors. So this is where we are really diving deep into equity, inclusion, diversity, cultural responsiveness, and trauma informed. But as trauma informed as a jumping off point to, yes, be aware of all the things that we have been harmed, but we are more than the harm. And it is so important for us to be part of the solution, that those closest to the problem are closest to the solution, but furthest from resources and power. You have advocates there that are so brilliant, that know how to handle this, that could teach everybody in your organization because they have lived it, because they've been denied services. They are almost always present to every organization that I encounter. So one, is learning, that might be having somebody who is on the outside come in and see where things are. That could be a survivor. That is, gosh, it's like learning your organization and centering the voices of survivors in everything that we do, everything that they do. They know, they can tell you so perfectly if we're listening to them. But notice that if a survivor tells you something and what you're feeling is some defensiveness, then that's another thing, that you want to, there's no shame about it. There's, that's a protective mechanism that you have developed. It's one that has to be looked at regularly. And it is a natural response in human beings that comes up. There's no shame about it. I hope that that all of us have somebody that we can talk to honestly about the reactions that we're having within our work. Because what I know is that, everybody who's in this is, they're here because they believe that they can do good, and they want to do good. And so really learning where people are and survivors, and then being prepared to make some of those changes. And some of it is really slow, and then there are other things that we can do fairly quickly to learning from your local experts. You have, a lot of communities do, and then others don't. So it might mean that you might have to partner with somebody who is a little further away to learn about addiction. You have peer support specialists, hire peers, hire survivors, but make sure that you've done the work within your organization so that they'll feel safe there. Otherwise, you're just subjecting them to more systemic abuse, which we know from a lot of what we've talked about today that people are experiencing all the time.